Hey guys, welcome in another episode, a little bit of life podcast with your host, Little, everything that we seem to think but don't say. When we obviously talk about this topic, who better to have on than the one, the only, Matt Vincent. How are you, sir? How's it going?
I'm good. I'm managing a morning, kind of getting into it, right? What is it? 11 o'clock. So I've got about 5.5 hours under my belt and on with the day.
Yep. Same. When listeners are popping into this and they're like, I don't know who this person is. I think you need to go do some research and check yourself. Because if you don't know who Matt Vincent is, that's your first problem of the day. But for those who don't know, you pretty much are the one, the only, the badass, the guru. You've been a Highland champion. You're an author. You're a businessman. You're a brand. I mean, you're everything kind of wrapped into one. So the big question is, how do you do it? How do you keep yourself accountable and like on a linear line of just not losing your mind on a day-to-day basis?
I lose my mind on most things. It's not clear at all. I'm a lunatic. That's why I do all this shit. I've essentially just, fully embraced and accepted the ADD part of me that needs a couple different things to focus on. Mm-hmm. And figuring out how to be efficient at doing a couple things well, because I know the singular focus thing really doesn't operate great for me. Mm-hmm. So I need different goals at all the time. Like I need physical stuff. I need business stuff. I need to know that I'm making progress on relationship stuff. And the big thing I've tried to do is I just want to be really intentional with my time and not just waste it. Mm-hmm. And so doing things I want to do, right?
Yeah, I think with saying everything, that's what all the things that you've accomplished, but it's not who you are. And I think especially now in society, everyone goes into these podcasts and we always say this long bio about somebody. And I don't do that because I like people to get to know you based on what comes out of your mouth and kind of your vibe and just getting to know you. And I think with society, we're so structured in this mindset, living in this box of what are you doing to make yourself a better person? It's like, no, it should be the opposite. Like, what kind of a person are you creating yourself to be and then accomplishing from that? I think we're kind of in that reverse flip side with that.
I think you can get caught up, right? That I think until you build some self-awareness and take the accountability that your life can be what you want it to be, and that can be defined now. Mm-hmm. Until that there's a moment where you take that ownership and take that responsibility for your life, we are kind of simply just reacting to yesterday's things and the experiences we've had before and what we've learned and what programming came in from either, where we grew up, the families we were in, what their programming was, and all these things. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that just leads you on to the next decision, which can feel like purpose, until you continue down that road far enough and realize, well, none of this matters to me. But if you're not willing to take some moment and figure out who you are and what does matter to you, then it's really hard to pick a direction to go. Mm-hmm. So you end up following more of what other people said makes people feel good, not exploring yourself without judgment to know what it is that makes you tick. Mm-hmm. That's true. And if you're not going to take the action toward it, like it's from shifting from that moment to then deciding, instead of my entire life being reactionary about the things that have happened to me or what I've already done, leading today's choice of actions, I'm putting new sights in front of me and I'm taking actions to be that, mm-hmm. And if it's, let's say, that goal for me is to be whatever my highest self is, whatever my best version of me is. And that guy's healthy and that guy's disciplined and that guy can manage problems and he can handle stress and he's also capable of traveling and he's empathetic and he's all these things. And so I have to take actions to do those things every day. And that's the only way I get to be him, to mm-hmm. be my best.
Mm-hmm. Being with your history, 2-time Highland Game World Champion. When we talk about sports, and, I was very involved in sports my entire life, especially as an athlete, we know there's an end. We know there's going to be an end to that kind of escapade that we're traveling on. But especially with your situation, it's really hard to swallow when it ends with an injury. It's almost like your body is not done yet, but it's just giving out. You had a knee replacement, you had an injury. So how does that affect, because we talk about on this podcast a lot, how did that affect your mental health? Because that's kind of all you knew at that moment, and you had to flip into becoming a better version of yourself in a different direction.
You know, I really thought I had my shit together around it. Yeah, like I knew, you know, historically speaking, right, that like there comes an end point to sports. You know, high school football ended because there's a time on it. Then, you know, college track and field ended because, well, you can't do that after you're out of college, right? There is something else deciding when the line stopped. And with sport like Highland Games, once I got into kind of as an adult and found a thing I loved and really fell in love with everything it gave me back, it came to an end. And all things do. And so it got into a really dark spot, and it wasn't because the Highland Games ended. And it wasn't until deeper reflection, right, of like, what did I really love about it? It wasn't being the best in the world and fucking winning a world championship. That's a day. You know, that's a day, that's a moment. But what I got was this great sense of community from people that I had traveled the world with who understood this giant aspect of my life that other people can't. Not just the Highland Games thing, but it's such a unique sport that there's not a ton of people who do it. And because of that, there's really only, you know, at that time, there's probably 15 of us that are any good in the world at the world level. There's plenty of people competing in the sport, but at the world level, you see the same 15 dudes every weekend. And those guys, like, those are the brothers. Like, those are the guys that get it. Like, none of us are training in a big community gym. We don't have 20 people we see every day. All of us are training in garages by ourselves, throwing in a field by ourselves. And so these are those times that we got to be around our tribe and got to be in our community of people that I don't have to explain my fucking insanity to.
They just get it.
They fucking get it. In fact, they get it so much we don't even have to bother with it. We all just know we have that thing. And when that ended, I realized how much I missed that. And because the sports thing ended, I had convinced myself that, well, it wasn't just that sports ended, right? It was the injury, and it was being hurt and really laid up. And to where, you know, I really couldn't walk more than a couple hundred yards a day without really shitty chronic pain. So going from being best in the world at a thing to that took away a lot of ability. I've never been in a place where my body didn't cooperate anymore. Because, you know, my head never got hurt.
Right.
It knows how to throw. It knows how to do all the things. It just doesn't understand why it can't make this thing work. And it has real, you know, it's not a mental barrier. It just now has different limitations. So deciding to figure those out and work with them instead of being and pissing and moaning about them has been a challenge. But I missed those parts of the sport, right? The things I really missed about the sport when I got really reflective of it was I missed having a thing that I gave a shit to get better at every day. That was one. You know, I missed the community I had with that sense of brothers, those people, and, you know, including my literal brother who competed in the sport. I missed what I didn't. There were some other ones that, like, through further, you know, or diving into it, reflection, that I missed. I didn't realize I was missing. And one was I spent, probably 90 minutes a day in the garage by myself lifting, which ends up being more meditation time. It ends up being that still time that I get to just process and think. Where I'm not reactive all day. I'm just in it. And then being outside for 90 minutes, 4 days a week, throwing. Like, holy shit. Side effect of being outside for 90 minutes, 4 days a week, doing a physical thing, right? Like, it doesn't even matter that throwing's the thing, that if I'll just go outside for 90 minutes every couple days, like, life's better. We have all the statistics to prove that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I found a lot of those as a side effect to the thing that I was passionate about. But now being able to get on this side of it and kind of extrapolate back to what was the key things that I was getting from it and making sure that I still keep those in my life and making sure that, you know, my pursuit of growing my business or brand or any of this doesn't lock me into a room. I didn't start my own business to be locked in a fucking room. Despite somehow I'll do it, right? Despite that, I still will get in my own fucking way and forget that that's a problem. That, like, God damn it, man, the freedom we wanted for starting our own thing wasn't to reward it with more work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was to reward yourself with free time to be outside on your mountain bike, to go and adventure and explore and travel the world and see things from these crazy different perspectives and share that story. The story's the big one, not where we are.
I think listening to you as an athlete, you were kind of in that gray area of this is all I've known. This is what I've worked for so long. And like you said, when you're in that training moment, it's that ability to check out. You don't even realize you're checking out from life and the real world, but life just kind of takes a pause. It takes a back seat for that 90 minutes. And then when you don't have that structure and that routine and that responsibility to push yourself further, you kind of have to find that niche of like, well, shit, now what actually pushes me forward? Like, who am I? What can I provide to this world? And I know that you did a lot of working in corporate America, working in that box. And I think it's really admirable because society wants us to stick in a box. They want, you know, the white picket fence.
The capitalism machine works really fucking well.
Yeah.
A bunch of us going to work as worker bees and be drones. Like it needs it. I mean, that's why our education system is built up on not creating problematic thinkers and people who want to try new shit. It is about falling in fucking line and listening to what the authority tells you to do.
Yep.
It creates that workspace. Like we're trained the whole fucking way for it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they're giving us that fear on the other side of, well, if you choose to get out of, you know, this corporate America, the safety, you know, you could fail. Well, what's the big deal of failing? I mean, everybody's going to fail at something. Like, you got to go out and give it a shot.
What the fuck's the safety we're talking about?
That vacation.
We've watched people lose their fucking jobs over the last 2 years who were safe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what is it? Jim Carrey's dad has that line, or Jim Carrey's talking about it, about his dad. And like that big realization he had was his dad was this really funny guy that wanted to be a comedian or do any of this shit and ended up becoming an accountant to play it safe. Worked for this company for, 35 years and they fucking let him go because you're a number on a spreadsheet because that's how the machine runs.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's one thing to fail in life whenever you're chasing your dreams. It's another one to fail when you took the safe route.
Yeah.
So what the fuck's the risk?
Exactly.
Because if I can take a shot at this, right, and I can figure out how to make a living for myself and I can figure out the really important parts of it, because it's not like what my content looks like or any of the posting or any of this other bullshit. Like the big lessons are creating fucking value and showing up consistently.
Mm-hmm.
I can work anywhere. I can always figure out a way to provide those two things. So why do I want to sell my life for the other thing? Is it to chase the bigger house? Is it to chase the other cars? Is it to chase this other bullshit that I'm not spending time and using anyway because I'm at the corporate job doing the thing? Like, that seems fucking dumb to me, man. My favorite memories don't involve the fanciest shit.
Mm-hmm.
So why do I continually keep thinking playing that game is going to be the way that makes me feel the best?
Yeah. It's the rat race of, well, if you work really hard once a year, you can have a great vacation.
To the same place with the same people to do the same shit.
Right. Like, just live your life and follow your dreams. And yeah, if you fail, you fail, but it's not even a failure. It's a lesson. Everything is a lesson in life. I think also when it comes to removing yourself from corporate America and what everybody thinks you should be in that box, so many people look at that with jealousy, and then they come up with excuses. Excuses are like assholes. We all have one. But it's, oh, well, this person is more successful than me because. No, there's no because. They grind, they work hard, they hustle because they want it that bad. There's that desire and passion. And I think with social media, it's like that content you were talking about. Oh, well, they have more than me. Quit the excuses and go hustle and work your ass off and see what you can get in the mindset that somebody else has. Like you said, it starts with mindset.
Well, I mean, that right there, right? Like that comparison model of going into scarcity for whatever it is already such a fucking benchmark of drawing yourself to failure. Mm-hmm. I don't care who you are. There's always someone up the ladder. There's someone up the ladder whose life that you're going to look at and think, wouldn't that be fucking nice? And so playing that game isn't how to get out of that. Looking at people who are successful and being able to just look at that from the perspective of, holy shit, that's possible. That's the way to go about it. Mm-hmm. But like, you know, you're saying, you know, that they did hustle. Also, some people fucking didn't.
True.
Some people fucking didn't, dude. There's people that it's worked out for, whatever the fucking reason. Mm-hmm. And good for them. You know, yeah. I mean, super bitching, right? Like, I've had times that it worked out for me that it didn't work out for everyone else. Like the fact that I was born to two parents who fucking loved me in 1983 in America. I didn't have shit to do with that. It's been pretty fucking great since. Mm-hmm. I haven't really done anything amazing with my life. I've got to see a lot of stuff and pursue a really fucking adventurous living because of some of that I got pre-installed with. Privilege. Luxury at birth. Mm-hmm. You know, my parents is a kindergarten teacher and a guy that works in a refinery. Like, we weren't rich, but I've never been hungry. Mm-hmm. And I've seen life that's otherwise. But we're used to what we're used to. And if you don't shift that perspective and change it and be able to frame it the way you want to frame it, you'll continue to get owned by it. And that'll keep predicting the next moves you make. Mm-hmm. Instead of you being the one in control of saying, I'm doing this because it fucking matters to me.
I think that's the key, because it matters to me. I think we're living in a society. We want to impress everyone else and then make ourselves proud last. It's a huge problem. I mean, so many people are comparing their lives of, well, quit worrying about what's in your neighbor's bowl. Look at what's in yours. What are you serving yourself? What are you feeding and fueling yourself with? Not your neighbor, not anybody else. And I think that that's such a huge problem, especially, I mean, there's a video you have on social media with your cell phone where you're stating, this is a tool. Like, are you using it as a tool, or you're using it for failure? And that was huge. I shared it on all my social media. And I mean, it's interesting. I always do polls, and it's not because I'm looking to create a number. I want people to start thinking. And it's like, what are you using all of your experiences as a tool? Are you learning, or are you just going to stay in that rut of bullshit of, yeah, well, this is just what life handed me? Again, excuses.
Or is it simply just Polaroid photos to fucking say you did a thing, mm-hmm. for other people to witness? It's fucking really weird.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you just went to Africa. Let's touch on that. What an amazing experience. Like, you know, we were setting this up. You're like, yeah, I'm heading to Africa. I'm like, wow. Like, to flip completely what our privileges are here in the United States, to go over and have an eye-opening experience, but you literally took in every opportunity to its full advantage in the most simple ways over there.
It's an incredible trip. I'm still processing a lot of it and kind of mm-hmm. where I fall on it. There's this big portion of me that has shifted a lot of gratitude and realized how wonderfully luxurious my fucking entire life is, and that any stress and problems I have in my life I've created, mm-hmm. and they're all luxurious problems and stress to have. There's part of that, right? There's also some part of me that I haven't quite figured out yet that is really annoyed that, oh, you went to Africa and had a giant life-changing experience. Is that what you did? Fucking 39-year-old midlife crisis? No shit. Like you have fucking really eye-opening perspectives because you got to see this different way the world lives? No shit. Mm-hmm. And there's some part of me that's just like, fuck. Just annoyed at how predictable all that is. But it doesn't change, right? Like the perspective of it, like the shift of it that I do feel, and taking note of some of the stuff that I saw to be the most important. One of those was one of the nights we were there, I had an all-time highlight experience of probably anything I've ever done, as far as just a moment to fucking burn in as deep into my memory as I can, so that I can access every feeling of it when I want to.
Mm-hmm.
So that day we had just done a celebration for a water well that Fight for the Forgotten, my friend Justin Wren's charity, had put in this area in Western Uganda. And so, like, we're in Western Uganda, like, to give you, like, we're flying to Uganda is not easy to get to, and you fly into Entebbe or Kampala, which are like their cities, and their cities are chaos. It looks everything like you think Africa does. There's motorcycles everywhere. It's dirty. It's a bit, the traffic rules are a bit of the bigger vehicle is in the win 99% of the time. And I mean, it's just not here. You can immediately see that all the rules are different, and everything's, whatever we've decided as acceptable living does not apply to here. It's a completely different world. And then we're leaving on a small plane that like sits like six people, and we're flying to Western Uganda and like landing on dirt runways. So if that's the city, heading out to the country. And so, like, realizing that I'm in a place that, like, there's not like emergency services. It's not like if you had a problem, you call 911 and someone shows up to help. They don't have a 911 number.
Yeah, you're stuck.
There isn't a thing to call for help.
Mm-hmm.
It's self-reliant. You know, and most of the people that we're around, especially in this area in Karambi, this is probably a community of 1,000 people that this water well will service. So Justin and I, as part of the trip and part of the content we were filming for Fight for the Forgotten, decided we were going to take on doing the water walk and doing kind of the worst case scenario of it, of this guy, Michael, you know, what his life looks like. Michael's 26, man. He's college degree, speaks a few languages, sharp, beautiful wife, couple kids, and they live in a mud brick hut that's smaller than my podcast studio.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have electricity. They don't have running water. They cook outside on firewood every night in a small thatch lean-to. And so we did what the worst case scenario of Michael's walk is, which would be like checking the first 3 spots. And if there's not water, we have to go to the 4th spot, and then where there's always water at the 4th spot. But if the first 3 have it, you'd always go there. It's closer.
Mm-hmm.
And so we set off on that track and carrying 2 jugs. And I mean, this is Justin Wren and I. Justin's a UFC fighter, another big world class athlete, was a national champion wrestler. And I'm me. I've done some physical hard things. And, I mean, part of this was like scaling up a fucking rock waterfall to see if the next spot have it. Like, they have people that slip and fall. They have people die. They have people get injured a couple times a year here. So we check all those spots. We make it down to the bottom. Round trip, this thing ends up taking like 4.5 hours. And I'm smoked. Like, we're probably between 2,000 and 3,000 feet of elevation gain during it. And like, I can't carry the 2 jugs back. Can't do it. So we end up splitting them amongst the team, which is like Michael and another guy with us, and then my camera guy, and then we had 2 security guys with us from the military, which I'm not sure why they're there, but they're there. Well, I know why they're there, because sometimes rebels come over from the Congo and fucking murder villages of people, because that happened 2 months ago, less than 10 miles from where we are.
Mm-hmm.
That's a part of reality I don't fucking have to deal with today. There isn't any part of my stress today that is, what if rebels show up in St. Louis and fucking murder us?
Right.
So, yeah, so we're simply getting water. We get back and we're completely shot, completely trashed from it. And, that's Michael's life up until 2 weeks ago, that he gets up at 3 a.m. and he does that thing. That water walk would physically kill 60% of the people in my country. The answer is they physically cannot do it. They would die. They eventually would lose water and they would die.
I think it's teaching us not to take the little things for granted, of us just going to our refrigerator. I mean, let's be real. Here in the United States, we're lazy. There's people who don't even want to get up from the couch to go to their refrigerator to get something to drink. They send their spouse or their child, or, oh, can you do this for me? I mean, it's crazy to me. I have an episode coming up. There's a young man who's walking 4 miles plus just to go to college in Africa. And he listens to this podcast. And he's like, I have a small, I use a computer. I'm the first one in my entire family for like 6 generations to go to school. I'm listening to your podcast to hear and learn about the United States. And I'm like, I don't really know if you want to learn about here, because let's be real, there's a lot of shit going on, but it really brings into perspective of, I have to walk 4 miles every day just to go to school because I want to be better. And then I look at, kids here in the United States, I'm like, man, we are so lazy and we don't even realize what we have to our advantage to use on a day-to-day basis. Electricity, like you said, water, education, friends, community, like everything. We have everything at our fingertips in a matter of a second.
Well, and that's where I ended up falling one of the nights that we were there, right? This is what reality is in that life. It's fucking hard. Mm-hmm. And Michael and his family's life has changed incredibly because of the work Justin and Fight for the Forgotten have done in putting in this single well, not to mention the couple under 100 that they've put in throughout Uganda and the Congo. But Michael now only has to walk like 400 meters once a day, which is still more than most people fucking even walk mm-hmm. to get steps in, for fuck's sake. Do you know how weird it is that life's so good we have to remind people to fucking go walk? And but people don't know because they don't know. And it really sucks to not be aware of it. But we're starting to have such big deteriorations in mental health and everything else within our culture because we're not taking action. That we're ending up operating so much of our time digitally and so much of our time just internally and not connected to our body. I wish that we could get away from this idea of mental health, physical health, and emotional health being different things and just fucking talk about health. Is that the others can play into it. It depends on how you're going about your intention of what you want to accomplish. And, back to being in Africa was that night after we celebrated handing over rights to the water well. I'm staying in Karambi with the Batwa community there, and where Justin they've built like 50 acres and given homes to these people. And like the homes are very simple. They're probably like a 10 by 30 concrete brick structure, metal roof, concrete floor. There's no furniture. There's 3 10 by 10 rooms that are concrete. The windows are metal windows with shutters and a big metal locking door. It is the closest I've ever been to being in a prison cell in my life. And I've got a mattress and a bed and a mosquito net.
That's important.
And I'm living more luxurious than any of the other people staying there, because they're all living 10 to a house because that's what their families are. Mm-hmm. Right. The fact that I'm there in my own room is crazy. But laying there one night after the water well celebration, like I'm trashed from doing this hike and everything. And so I'm happily just laying in bed. But all I can hear throughout this community is them just celebrating and dancing and happy. Genuinely happy. And it wasn't just because of this celebration. They did it like 3 or 4 nights that we were there. They just partied, and it wasn't with us for a show. And they're just outside with each other, making up songs and dancing and singing and there was so much, the air was so thick with love and community. I'm just blown away by it, because I can't ever describe any of these people I met as unhappy. And that's a really fucking stark contrast to, I think most people I meet in the US aren't happy. They're not happy in their life. They don't feel like they have enough. They haven't strived. They haven't done whatever it is. And realizing what a horseshit thing that is. That happiness is the choice too. of realizing the things that provide happiness globally. And that's community. That's a sense of being. It's even because their life is so hard and they don't have like the opportunity of self-actualization that we have, right? Like they're much lower on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but everyone has fucking purpose every day. We have to decide our purpose. We're at a different place in the evolution. And we've just only been here for like 2 generations, 3 generations of people at best. We don't know what we're fucking doing. We have no idea how to manage the mindset that fucking handles not having to do shit. Understanding that like, holy fuck, well, my whole body thing was supposed to take care of itself because I was out hunting food and doing all this other shit all day. But now that I don't have to do that, I still have to go use my fucking body and do shit all day. Otherwise, I feel shitty. Otherwise, I get sick. Otherwise, my body's not protected from stuff. Otherwise, I don't feel strong. I can't move my skeleton around. I get more stationary. Like our body will just adapt to whatever the stimulus you give it. And you got to choose to do those things.
It's a choice. That's key. It's a choice. And I think so many people are lazy and think, especially, I love how you said mental health, physical health, everything goes into one. We're all in one body. It's the same thing. And so I feel like everybody wants the perfect pill, the easy fix, let me take, I worked in medical for so long and, I'm out of it now, obviously. And I think there's a fit and a right fit for everything and everybody. But when it comes to, the quick fix, the perfect pill, the quick diet, the quick fat, everybody now is, I want it, but I want it in this instant. I don't want to work at it. I don't want to try at it. And then like with you stating, they have a purpose, they have a reason. And with us, it's like, well, what do I want to do today? No, it's you have a day. And I love how you wake up early. I was raised in a very military blue line family, blue collar workers of, if your neighbor is up before you, you're already failing. You're already behind. Get up, get moving. Like you said, do something physical with your body. That's not just walking to the fridge to go get an energy drink. You have to take care of yourself. And you mentioned on a podcast I listened to on Bear Performance, and you're talking about the last 2 generations of your family. It is amazing because you stated in there that no one has made it over the age of 70.
Yeah, that's, so that kind of has been big shifts that have happened in my life have come from that full accountability and awareness that I'm fucking dying. Mm-hmm. Right? Like it's one of those things that most people, the end of sports or the end of the thing or the end of the chapter, that's something other people deal with. It's not you. And the same with death. But fuck that. I don't look at it that way. Like I fully embrace the memento mori. I fully embrace that I am going to die. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, the only thing I can change today and in the moments between now and my death or how that guy gets to look back on the story. That's what I get to choose to write every single day and decide what is the life that turns him on? What is the life that I'm the most proud of living? What do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want to experience? And being able to try to figure out how to make that happen. Mm-hmm. Because there's an infinite number of possibilities and an infinite number of ways. But until you start experimenting and start trying stuff, you don't know what hits a lot of those buttons for you. And man, the idea of, like, I don't read business guy books. Like I try to sometimes because I think there's supposed to be smart shit in them to help me make more money, but that's it. Like the stuff I'm into is fucking adventure and self-awareness and people fucking exploring, whether it's themselves or big questions or why. Mm-hmm. And so don't pretend the other one fills my bucket. Mm-hmm. It's that one I want to be around. And I know that resonates with other people. Like I know that people fucking take this route because we're supposed to, and for me, my dad died at 62. I lost both uncles to maybe right around 70, and my grandparents, I don't think, lived much older. Right around that same spot, right? And like, none of these people fucking took care of themselves physically. I wouldn't say they're the absolute worst, right? Like none of my family's on my 600-pound life, but no one's taking care of themselves. They're somewhere in between, right? Between healthy and that. But, Dad developed type 2 diabetes, and Dad drank a lot, and Dad didn't take care of himself. I would say probably after high school football, my dad never got his heart rate up on purpose. Like for the sake of being like, this will be good for me. Like maybe an incident occurred.
Right.
Right. But there was never for the sake of like, zone 2 cardio every fucking day helps blah, blah, blah. Like some fucking weird thing I operate with, like never has registered. And so, like, I kind of look at that as not taking care of yourself, especially based on information I have that I can't choose to not know the information I know. I can ignore it, but then that just makes me kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know how long I get to fucking live. Like, that's the other thing. Like, I'm not banking on 80, man. I don't have any proof of that working out well for my lineage. And so when my dad passed away, he died of pancreatic cancer at 62, and he passed away on April 5th, the day before my birthday. I turned 31 the following day. And at that point in my life, I'm working an outside sales job, doing the corporate thing. I'm traveling and competing. That's, 2014. I had I won my second world championship later that year. Big fuel by that of that's out of my control. And realizing that so many things in life are going to be. Because fuck, man, you can just get sick. You can just get a fucking tumor. You can just get hit by a bus. All of it. And I'm not saying live my life like a total asshole. But you know what I mean? Like a total asshole is living like a grasshopper the whole time, right? You familiar with the grasshopper and ant type thing? Cool. I never know how fucking old I am at this point anymore. It's really starting to kick in weird that like I'll bring a thing up and people are like, what? And I'm like, fuck.
You're like, okay, I aged myself. My bad. Let me explain. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Let me take you back. Books. Yep. We had these written texts that we derived our stories from. Yep. But looking at that, right? Like the life I was living and how in tune was that toward what I really wanted and where I wanted to be and what I wanted to learn and experience. And there was this other part that a few years later, like when the Highland Games got ended in 2016 and I was hurt, I could just see normalcy. Like all I saw was doing the corporate job and having a couple of weeks vacation and making enough money and fulfilling myself by buying more bullshit and going to the same places every year. And I know that I can't run the clock out doing that. That's me. If other people can and they're stoked, I want it for them. Corporate America needs you people to do that job. But for me, like, yeah, I'm not turned on by it. And so it's a choice to pursue something that I love. What's the risk? I end up fucking dead either way. I'd rather take a shot at a bunch of things and try things. And because as long as I'm not, identified by those failures, I get to use those as the lessons I learned along the way of taking the experiments and, experience on different things and deciding what did I learn from it to try the next one. I mean, I went into entrepreneurship really early and failed with a bicycle shop right after college. And then went into corporate America with the feelings of like, no fucking way will I ever work for me again. And I proved that guy wrong. So predicting the future anymore seems pretty useless to me. I mean, I hope I have no idea what my life looks like at 50. I couldn't have imagined this one. And so why bother? It seems me trusting my intention and working really hard takes care of it. So sticking with more of that and trying to find more in tune ways to listen to that intention. But that's what it boiled down to with Dad. Like that's what it came down to, right? Like that was my halfway moment of life. And it's just continued to resonate of, He passed away at 62. I turned 31. That's 1,612 weeks to fucking do everything I want to in my life. Like, all the great adventures and experiences and anything have to happen in the next 1,612 weeks. I'm 40 now. I'm 40 in, 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 1,134 weeks to go. I'm way past halfway. Like, I can't buy any more of that shit. And so why am I giving it away? Mine's too valuable. That's how I feel. My fucking time's too valuable.
I like how you put your focus on yourself. I don't think that we do that enough as human beings. I think we're automatically kind of pre-tuned of, you take care of others around you, you take care of your family, you take care of your partners, everything, and then you come last. And I think it's something that, when I did a poll and asked a bunch of people of, if you worked in corporate America and it just wasn't your niche, it wasn't your thing, and you were not severely happy, you were in that rat race hamster wheel that you were never going to get out of it, and you chose to follow a dream, it amazed me. 98% of the poll said it was a selfish choice. Selfish. Good. I'm like,
yeah, you know what?
Great.
I'm not talking to those people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I already know those people and I don't fucking mesh.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm selfish, cool. It's my fucking life. It's my time to spend here to do what I want to do and make the impact I want to have. I'm not obligated to fucking be part of it. I'm not obligated to play by the same rules as everyone else. I don't have to do the kids thing. I don't have to fucking have a 401k. I don't have to do these things. I can fucking figure them out on my own. But that's what comes with the other side of it. Is fuck you, I'll figure it out. I always have. And I can continue to do it. And I damn well know I'm not that smart. I have a fairy tale made up degree from LSU, general studies, whatever the fuck that means. What I have the ability to do is show up every single fucking day and do it. And not listen to that temporary voice that says, I'm tired. Like, I don't give into that one. I know the difference between what my bullshit ego is trying to tell me I want in the moment and what the id that is my driving force forward wants now, and what we can continue to work toward, because that's what brings me the big stuff.
For those that are listening, but also check out, obviously check out the YouTube, because you can see the brand that you're wearing. It's your brand. It's not dead yet. I want to talk about that, because going from an athlete and then feeling this sense of pride and this is, a sense of accomplishment, you've kind of been all over, still kind of in that, athletic field and community. How did you feel, creating a brand of, I'm no longer that athlete? Because I heard you talk about it a couple times of, I'm still not in the game, but I'm still the same person. Who's going to listen to like what I have to say or my advice when, like, now I'm not the athlete and then Matt, I'm Matt who used to be the athlete.
Right. That a big part of that is trying to realize, like, who am I again? Right. And like, who's the audience that I'm speaking to, and what am I searching for? And perhaps I align differently than I did back then. The same methodology of everything I did was starting the apparel brand that came from a couple books I wrote, the ideology behind it. That's how I get shit done. Like, I know how because I just don't accept that this was good enough. And I can continue to do that every day. Now, I don't have to do that in a way that's mean to me. I can do that in a way of like, look, we're just going to give our best today, based on the best information we have right now. Mm-hmm. That's it. And if I can stop every day and feel that that's something I got to do, then I'm still making progress on everything that I'm interested in. And so, not dead yet. Like, chapters change, and trying to hold on to the last one for the sake of being defined by it. I'm not interested. I'm not that fucking guy. I'm still here to fight. I'm still here to go forward. I'm still the one at the wheel. I'm not dead yet. There's going to be a time where I'm going to sit around and do nothing, and it's going to be most of eternity. I only get to be alive for like another 30 years. Fuck. Like, I'm not dead yet, right? Like, that's what it is. It's that fire to take action now. Stop waiting on this idea that I have banked up freedom of time waiting for me. What a fucking lie that is. The lie is that fear that safety now buys you that later, and that ain't how it fucking works.
Mm-mm.
You end up there out of shape. You end up there without any fucking skills. You end up there without any practice to understand or appreciate what you have. You didn't fucking, it's not the same. And that's what happens, right? Like you see that people go into awareness crisis at various points in their life. Most of the boomer generation did it after kids left the house, which becomes empty nest syndrome. We had fucking terms for it. It's because all of a sudden everyone's out of the house and you're not having to be mom or dad anymore. No one needs you to be mom and dad. And you have to figure out what it's like to fucking be you.
Mm-hmm.
It just came post kids. I ran into mine at 30. I ran into my moment of, holy shit, I get to choose everything I do in my life. What is it you choose to do? Right? Like, with that old question, right? That old journaling bit about, if money wasn't the factor, how would you spend your time? Mine would look a lot like what I currently do. I want to have impact on the community I'm around. I want to be physically fit and healthy so that while it used to be before, right? Like the big push for being physically fit and healthy was performance in one tiny fucking aspect of my life, throwing things further. But now I can put that same energy and effort into performance, but it's a performance of being a better human. It's me being able to focus my energy better. It's me being able to manage my health better. It's me being able to give myself as many options to say yes to opportunity as I can. And so that's the purpose for why I stay fit. That's why, because I'm not dead yet. There's going to be other cool shit to do. I want to be making those choices. And I saw it. Like I saw that I'm falling into a path that I'm pretending is making the other, because I want the other people around me impressed and giving permission and saying what a fucking great job I did. I don't fucking care. If it's not for me, I don't want to do it. It is super fucking selfish. Good.
It's necessary.
But look, if it wasn't something that people resonated with and it wasn't something that fucking mattered, like the idea that it's selfish and that we've attached a negative connotation to that sure seems to fit a lot more people into jobs they fucking hate, right? Mm-hmm. That seems to be a pretty good bit of propaganda to help people sit there and stomach fucking doing bullshit with their lives that they hate.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty fucking convenient.
Yep. I always say you either have the money and not the time, or you have the time and not the money. My grandparents used to tell me that all the time. They were married for 67 years. And when I would always ask, what's the secret? Because everybody wants to know, what's the secret of life to everything? And they just said, do what makes you happy first. The rest falls into place. I'm like,
No one really listens to that.
No.
No one.
I'm 37 and I haven't listened to that.
Yeah.
It's time. Maybe it's time to start.
It's still a battle. Like there's no there. Right? Like that's a big part of the journey and big part of accepting the not dead yet, right? Like there isn't this moment that I'm going to hit that everything automatically found into place and now my feet get to go up on the fucking couch. It's not how it works, nor is that what I really want. I'm not looking for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for the new experiences that shift and change me, the new experiences that alter how I think and what I feel, especially if it can shift me away from the ideals that I don't agree with, especially ones that are really hard to fucking unwire, of needing that permission and needing that support. And why aren't I seen? But don't people know how fucking hard I'm working? Like that's for you. People want it, man. And I get it. It's fucking tough.
So how does this, because so many people I'm sure might be working in the same mind space as me. And I got to ask, how does this mindset of yours work within your relationships, within, romantic relationships or friendships? Because I'm a firm believer you can only push yourself also as much as your environment. Because I mean, if you're around lazy people, you're not going to go anywhere. But you also have to be with people that understand your motto and then want you to succeed, even when you've reached your peak of I've reached my level, I've reached my goal. Okay, now what's next? How does this kind of mindset and motto reflect in your relationships around you?
Well, sorry, I had a little glitch there.
Oh, you're good.
So I think I got the gist of everything you're saying. It's complicated because of self-awareness I have, and I don't feel obligation to really anything. It kind of means I allow everything in my life to be on the chopping block. Which means I'm not obligated for us to have a relationship because we've known each other for 10 years. I'm choosing this relationship because I believe it makes me a better person knowing you. Me being in service to you is valuable. That I'm respected for the time that I give you. That's why I choose the relationship. Not because we're related. Not because you gave birth to me. Not because any of the other things. I'm not fucking obligated. And there's a freedom that comes from that, right? Like you can either listen to that and be like, oh, fuck, what a prick. He doesn't talk to his mom. Or what I've explained to my mom is I talk to you because I like Evelyn Vincent. Not because you're my mother. I don't suffer you. I don't suffer anyone in my life. I have the people around that I want to be around. And what that should do is instill confidence in the person that I'm talking to, that this is where I want to fucking be, is talking to you right now. Because I don't operate out of obligation. I don't have to do shit. So everywhere I am is my choice. And there's a big freedom that comes from that total accountability. And a lot of people spend their whole day doing shit that they feel like they didn't choose to do. Bullshit. No one got their job issued to them. Everyone took their job. Everyone probably fucking applied for it at some point. Everyone. So find another one. It's not easy, but that's why that option exists that most people sit there and fucking just live in. So for me, the relationships I have, I value really deeply. And I want to be as good a friend as I can be. I show up for stuff. I answer the phone. I talk to my friends. I go and visit and see them doing things that brings them success and happiness. I like being in support. I like being of value. Right. And if that value is simply just holding space, then fuck, I can do that. I don't need to change or prove something to them. I'm not competing with them. I'm friends with a bunch of high-powered lunatics. And I don't want it any other way. Most of the time, I'm surrounded by people that are such high-powered weirdos that I'm just waiting for them to realize I'm not supposed to be here.
I'm not supposed to be among the circle.
And one of them is going to be like, you've been here for 10 fucking years. How have you been here that long? I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Just waiting on you to notice.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and see myself to the door. Be like, that was a fun run. But it never has happened. So I can kind of stop with that lie and realize I am valuable. I am a good friend. I do provide love and community to my people. In my relationship, my personal relationship with Bonnie, because of this, being selfish or whatever it is, right? Like, I'm not obligated. And both things go that way. And so the way I always describe it, and whether that's my friends or whether it's really anything in my life, I don't want anything else to get a vote in what I choose to do and what I choose to pursue. Bonnie, my wife, I value her opinion over over really anyone else's on earth, right? But at the end of the day, she doesn't get a vote. Now, she doesn't have to accept either. If I'm going on a weird fucking trip and doing all this, say going to Uganda for 10 days, right? Like, I can imagine other people in couples, this would become like, you can't do that. It's dangerous. And blah, blah, blah. She doesn't get a vote, man. You also don't have to go with me. Mm-hmm. Not that we had any conflict over this, but this is just an example. Bonnie would have fucking happily gone. She'll go back with me next time we get a chance. Mm-hmm. But overall, say little things in our relationship, like, if Bonnie wants to change her fucking hair color or do something different or do any of this, I don't give a fuck. Is she happy? That's the only fucking thing I need to know. Did it hurt me in any way? It doesn't. I'm not even giving it a time for an opinion. You know, I'm there for when she needs support from me. She is living a parallel life to me, doing her thing at the same pace and passion that I'm doing mine. I don't need her to live mine this way. She is not a fucking character in my universe. She has her own world. I don't get a vote there. I don't want to fucking vote there because I'm not giving anyone to mine. And so I listen very carefully on, and not listen, but pay attention a lot. And I try to be really good about with the awareness of, is she venting or is she asking me an opinion? Because if we're venting, let's vent. I get it. Blow off steam. I am fucking down. I don't need to solve this problem for you. You got it. You've managed your fucking life for the last 34 years without my help. You're fine. Probably figure this one out. If they're asking my opinion, happy to help. But until then, I'm support. I don't want them fucking making choices I've got to make. I don't know all the fucking details. You know? But I believe in her being her best. In any way I can help facilitate that, I want to. And if she's her best and I'm my best, it will probably be pretty fucking great together. But I ain't trying to take any of her shine. And nor do I want to take any from any of my friends. And nor do I want to give away any of mine. Mm-hmm. I'm not interested in giving away my shine to watch you be brighter. Let's all be fucking as bright as we can possibly be, because the only thing I'm really in control of is mine. The rest of it is some false sense of fucking control that's supposed to make me feel good. Not into it.
I'll hard pass on that.
Right. And yep. I mean, it's a different way to have a relationship. Look, I wasn't as successful in it in my 20s, right? Like, I didn't know better. There's plenty of stuff. And at this point now, like, there isn't any hard conversations I can't have. There isn't any feelings that I'm not interested in sharing, or desires or wants. I mean, like, what's the point of holding that back from the person that I'm trying to share my life with? Mm-hmm. Because of some insecurity that they won't continue to love me if I blah? Well, that part of blah is me. I'm not interested in hiding any of it. It's a fucking waste of my energy. Also, whatever those things are, right? Like, if it's something you don't want to get rid of out of your life, then be cool with it.
I think that in society and as humans, we have this fear that we're going to lose something. If we're ourselves and the epitome of this is me, either take it or leave it. So many people don't want to express that because I'm going to lose something. Well, if you continue you're going to lose yourself. If you continue to just, you'll get a glimpse of this and this person gets a glimpse of this. I mean, I see it all the time. I mean, I see it in friends group and family of, well, I don't want to really speak to this person. But why not? Be yourself, because at the end of the day, you're only hurting yourself. And if somebody's going to go, they're going to go. I mean, it's just the way of life. You can't hold on to something that's not supposed to stay.
Well, that's the whole fear thing in general, right? Like, fear is this expectation that I don't want things to change. So I'm trying to hold on to a certain thing and I want to control it and make it my way. And my fear is that it will leave. Mm-hmm. Well, all things change. Everything dies. It's going to. And so, You can either be a bit more in flow with that and able to listen to it and have gratitude in the moment for how great a moment is, instead of saying that I need to lock this away in some fucking glass menagerie and keep this moment the way it is in time. And I don't want them to change, because what does that say about me? Well, it means you're fucking human and you change.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? People will be like, well, I can't do that because I used to for sure believe this. And I said a lot that fucking the color brown is stupid. Who fucking even knows what people argue about? But, you know, a big chunk of this is being able to say, I fucked up. Mm-hmm. That's a big chunk of awareness, is like, I can't fix things that I don't know are wrong. Or even wrong, right? Because fuck. I try to really be careful with those things in vocabulary and like how I use it. I think being impeccable with your word is really important as someone who tries to communicate for a living. And so, like, even using terms like right and wrong, I struggle with, because they're set on some line that was determined by lots of factors, and especially what your experiences are of right and wrong, and especially in who are they attached to. Is it the invisible guy in the sky, or mom and dad, or fucking whatever it is? Mm-hmm. And I don't know that I believe right and wrong really exist. And I don't know that I think anything at this point has, I don't know that things have inherent value. So that means it's all our choice of what we decide is valuable. It's up to our choice to decide which makes us more optimum and better. And that may be defined as worse by someone else. Fuck them.
I was waiting for that. Like, it's coming.
Yeah, fuck them.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I want to know me.
I appreciate you coming on and being vulnerable, because I think we need a lot more personalities like yours in life. Of, if you don't like me, that's okay. And if I'm not living my life for anyone else, I'm living it for myself. And
nor am I living it in spite of you. Right. Like, right. I don't have any malicious intent with the way I live my life toward anyone. The number one rule I live with is that I get to pursue whatever the fuck I want to with my existence. Mm-hmm. And it can't get in the way or ever be more important than someone else's pursuit of their thing. And lots of people want the rest of the world to conform for your thing to be right or the most important, when if you quit needing other people to agree with it and just do it, it's the same. Mm-hmm. Quit giving a fuck about their validation or trying to get permission to do the thing, and take responsibility for all of the consequences that come from doing the thing you want to do.
I like that. Yep, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. I'll put all your information in the bio. Also, your brand, Not Dead Yet. Definitely go check it out. Order. Like he said, you're responsible for yourself. You're responsible for your health. You're responsible for your mind. You're responsible for your actions. And nothing is a failure. It's just a lesson. And that's why we have to keep going. And like Matt said, you're not dead yet. So what do you have to lose? Just keep going. Have a goal. You don't have to write, novels in a journal every day and do the manifestation. If that's not for you, that's fine. If you can't meditate, you're like me, I can't shut my brain off. That's fine. Do what works best for you. You're not supposed to with meditation. You're not supposed to with meditation. Like, all you're supposed to do with meditation is let them come and go. Don't have judgment over them. Yeah, see, I'm kind of like that Eat, Pray, Love movie where I'm sitting there like, how can I redecorate? What do I need to organize? It just doesn't work for me. I just can't. Mm-mm. So for me, as my time of, look, I'm as fucking ADD and that shit crazy as it gets. So times like using tools like sauna or a cold tub, or even really aggressive breath work, because it's free and you can just do it anywhere. Mm-hmm. There'll become a point in any of those practices where I want to quit so bad that I have to just focus on breathing to continue doing it. And as long as I'm focused on just breathing, like counting in 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, hold, whatever it is, right? Like it, because I become so present in the task of maintaining that breath, the other stuff will fall away. Mm-hmm.
because if I don't, the uncomfortable part shows back up. And for me, accessing that edge allows me to feel a little bit more of that reminder that when things are chaotic and I want to stop or do any of these things, I can just remember that I'm in control. I don't have to listen. Right. So when I'm in those meditative states, I can't just do sit still either. Mm-hmm. And so I quit trying to do that option. And I switched to now, if I'm going to sit still, then I'm going to hammer the breath, because I can get that done in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's definitely something I'll be trying.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking with us. And hopefully if there's listeners that maybe if you were in the poll and you stuck with us this whole time, you're like, that's selfish. Well, now what do you think? Because I think we all need to be selfish. And if you think we're selfish, it's great. It's fantastic. I appreciate it.
Right on.
You know, it is what it is. So I'll put all your information in the bio. Check them out on Instagram. Make sure you order from the brand and follow along, because I'm just amazed at your mind. I think that you're brilliant. And I think you're kind of that person that's
I got to get that sound clip. That's fucking only time in my existence that's ever happened. So this is going great for me.
I think you literally are just that one person that comes in of a room that's full of people of, this is the box. How are we going to decorate? And you just smash the shit out of it. You're like, fuck the box. I'm out. That's just how you have come across with social media, especially with this of you like me or you don't. And I think we need more personalities and definitely more of a genius brain. And I'll say it again, that you have to share to the world. Cause I think you're going to change a lot of people's lives, especially even on this podcast and listening. I think people just need that forceful mindset of just do it and get it done. And I think that's what you empower and embrace every day. So I appreciate you coming on and talking with me and sharing this globally. I'm sure we'll hit Africa and we're going to change so many other people. And I can't wait to see what life looks like for you, especially happy early 40th birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Many more decades to go.
Yeah, it's been great. Right. And like that piece that you're talking about, like that shift and that kind of forcible side to it. That's what I work with my mentorship group. Like that's what Not Dead Yet Life is all about, is helping people find that and find a community of people that feel the same way. Mm-hmm. I just want to be surrounded by people who are as stoked about their life as I am mine.